Hi everyone, I'm Patricia. At 32, I built a thriving practice helping people transform their lives through nutrition, but nothing compared to the joy I felt on my wedding day 5 years ago. It was during the reception when James's grandmother, Barbara, pulled me aside. "Come here, sweetheart," she said, her eyes twinkling as she slipped off her vintage diamond ring. "This ring has been worn by the strongest women in our family for 3 generations. Now, it's your turn." I remember tearing up as she placed it on my finger. The antique setting sparkled with tiny diamonds surrounding a brilliant center stone. Martha, my mother-in-law, hugged me tightly and whispered, "Welcome to the family." Truly, everything felt perfect until James's younger sister, Susan, moved back home after her divorce 6 months ago. At the first Sunday dinner after Susan's return, I caught her staring at my ring. "That ring is absolutely gorgeous," she gushed, grabbing my hand across the dinner table. "Grandmother had such amazing taste." "Indeed she did," Martha smiled. "And Patricia takes such good care of it." But something felt off. Every Sunday dinner became an endless stream of Susan's comments about the ring. "Remember when grandmother used to let me try it on?" she'd muse. Or, "Grandmother always said I had the same delicate fingers as hers." Then came the stories. "Oh, Patricia, did I ever tell you about how grandmother promised me her jewelry collection before she passed?" she would say, her voice dripping with sweetness. She had such a special bond with her only granddaughter. Last Sunday, I was helping Martha in the kitchen when I glimpsed Susan through the doorway. She was holding my hand up to the light, supposedly admiring the ring again. But I noticed her phone in her other hand, snapping photos. Later, Martha commented with concern. "She's been asking a lot about the ring lately, claims she's just feeling nostalgic after the divorce." "I've noticed," I replied, twisting the ring nervously on my finger. "Something doesn't feel right." James dismissed my worries. "Babe, she's just going through a rough time. You know how sentimental she gets about family stuff." But I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling, the way Susan's eyes followed my every movement, the way she managed to bring up the ring in every conversation, the secret photos. It all felt calculated, like she was planning something. I just never imagined how far she'd go to get what she wanted. It all came to a head during what was supposed to be a typical Thursday evening family dinner at my in-laws. Susan cleared her throat, tapping her wine glass with a spoon. My stomach dropped at the sight of that familiar, manipulative smile. "Everyone, I have something important to share," she announced, pulling out her iPad. "I found this video while going through old memories." The grainy footage showed grandmother Barbara in her hospital bed. My heart raced as I recognized her final days. The video had clearly been edited. The jump cuts were obvious, but Susan's masterful manipulation had everyone entranced. "My dearest Susan," Barbara's weak voice crackled through the speakers, "I want you to have." Jump cut, "My ring." Jump cut, "It belongs to you." Martha gasped, her fork clattering against her plate. "Oh my, I had no idea Mother made such a promise." "That video is edited," I protested, my hands shaking. "This isn't what happened." "Are you calling my sister a liar?" James snapped, making me flinch. I had never heard that tone from him before. "James, honey, please." Susan dabbed at her eyes with a napkin. "I didn't want to do this publicly, but I've been having such a hard time since my divorce. Seeing that ring on someone else's hand when grandmother explicitly wanted me to have it. It's just too painful." Martha reached across the table, patting Susan's hand. "Patricia, dear, perhaps you should do the right thing. Family harmony is so important." "It's just temporary," James added softly, not meeting my eyes. "Until we figure this out." Before I could respond, the doorbell rang, making everyone jump. Martha's friend Rebecca had arrived early for their book club meeting. She stood frozen in the doorway, sensing the tension. Susan's voice turned sharp. "Give me the ring," she demanded, her mask slipping. "I'm the real granddaughter here. You're just some outsider who married in." My fingers went numb as 6 pairs of eyes bored into me. Even James, my supposed partner, sat silent as his sister attacked me. With trembling hands, I tried to remove the ring, but it stuck, almost like a final protest. "Here, let me help." Susan grabbed my hand roughly, yanking the ring free. I watched in horror as she immediately slipped it onto her own finger, admiring how it caught the light. "Perfect fit," she smirked. "Just like grandmother always said." Rebecca cleared her throat from the doorway. "Susan, isn't that the same trick you pulled with Caroline's earrings in college?" Susan's head snapped up, her eyes flashing with warning. I don't know what you're talking about, Rebecca. This is a family matter. But the damage was done. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. Without a word, I grabbed my purse and walked out, ignoring James calling after me. As I reached my car, Rebecca hurried after me. Wait, she called. There's something you need to know, Susan, something that happened years ago. The next morning, Rebecca and I met at a quiet coffee shop downtown. She wrapped her hands tightly around her coffee mug, leaning forward. Susan's been doing this for years. In college, she stole her friend Caroline's family heirloom earrings, claiming her grandmother had promised them to her. She sold them to cover gambling debts. My mind raced. Could Susan have done the same with my ring? I needed proof. Later that day, I visited Mercy Hospital, where grandmother Barbara had spent her final days. Nurse Janet, who had cared for her, was still there. Susan? No, she never visited, Janet said, shaking her head as she checked the visitor logs. The only visitors were Martha, James, and you. You came every day after your nutrition clinic closed. Janet paused, then pulled out her phone. Actually, Mrs. Barbara asked me to record something for her. I still have it, but with everything that happened, I forgot to share it. The video showed grandmother, weak but clear-minded, speaking directly to the camera. Martha, make sure Patricia keeps the ring. Susan's been calling, demanding all my jewelry. But that ring belongs to Patricia. She has the pure heart this family needs. My hands trembled as I forwarded the video to Martha. Within minutes, my phone exploded with messages. Martha had discovered that Susan's deception went deeper. The family security cameras had captured Susan rifling through my purse during Sunday dinners, photographing my credit cards. Meet me at the bank, James texted urgently. You need to see this. At the bank, James looked devastated. Susan's been forging checks from our joint account. She has massive gambling debts, liens against her house. His voice cracked. She pawned Mom's pearl necklace months ago. While James dealt with the bank, I drove past Susan's house. Through the window, I saw her gesturing angrily on the phone. The ring on her finger sparkled, but something seemed off in the way it caught the light. Then Rebecca called. I just left the jewelry store where Susan's been hanging out. The owner confirmed she sold him a diamond ring matching your description 3 days ago. What she's wearing now is a cheap replica. I found records of her selling jewelry across 3 states, each time claiming they were promised to her. The pieces fell into place. The compliments, the photos, the fake video, all part of her calculated plan. But Susan had made one crucial mistake. She kept the fake ring. Martha called, her voice shaking. I've invited everyone for dinner tomorrow night. Susan thinks we're celebrating her getting the ring, but Janet's bringing the real video. The jeweler's coming to examine the fake ring, and Rebecca has gathered statements from Susan's other victims. I touched my bare finger where the ring used to sit. What about James? Will he stand with us? He's already called the police about the forged checks, Martha replied grimly. Susan went too far this time. I never imagined this was my daughter. Tomorrow night, everything changes. Looking at the mountain of evidence, the visitor logs, security footage, bank statements, and victim testimonies, I felt a strange calm. Susan thought she won, but her house of cards was about to collapse spectacularly. The next evening, Susan swept into the dining room in a designer dress, clearly bought with her ill-gotten gains. The fake ring sparkled unnaturally on her finger as she played the gracious hostess. I'm so glad we can all move past this unpleasantness, she said with a triumphant smile, barely disguising her victory dance. Just as we sat down for dinner, Martha's friend David, who, unbeknownst to Susan, was a certified gemologist, arrived. Susan, too busy flaunting her heirloom, barely noticed him. Susan, dear, Martha spoke up during dessert. Would you let David take a closer look at the ring? He's always had such an interest in family heirlooms. Susan's smile faltered just for a second. Oh, I wouldn't want to take it off. It's so special to me. Please, Martha insisted, her voice carrying a steely edge I had never heard before. David examined the ring under his portable loupe, his expression darkening. This is cubic zirconia in a brass setting, worth maybe $50. The color drained from Susan's face. That's impossible, she stammered. Right on cue, Rebecca entered the room, a folder clutched in her hands. Is it? She said, her voice cutting through the silence. Because I have the receipt from Crown Jeweler showing you sold the real ring 3 days before that family dinner. You went through my things. Susan shrieked, backing away from the table. Like you went through my purse, I countered, my voice steady. The security cameras caught everything, Susan. James connected his laptop to the TV, playing grandmother Barbara's real video message. The room fell silent as Barbara's weak but unmistakable voice filled the air, explicitly naming me as the rightful owner of the ring. Susan's elaborate house of lies crumbled before our eyes. It was just a loan, she sobbed, mascara streaming down her cheeks. I needed to cover some debts. I was going to buy it back. Like you were going to buy back Mom's pearls? James's voice cracked. Or replace Caroline's earrings. We found everything, Susan. Every pawn shop, every victim, every lie. You don't understand. Susan screamed, her desperation palpable. I deserve that ring. I'm blood family. Blood family doesn't steal, Martha said quietly. Blood family doesn't lie or hurt their own for money. Panicking, Susan lunged for her purse. But David blocked her path. The police have been notified about the forged checks, he said calmly. I suggest you stay. I stood up, my heart pounding but my voice clear. I'm not pressing charges over the ring. The room fell into stunned silence. Not because you deserve mercy, I continued, meeting Susan's bewildered gaze, but because I'm choosing to be better than you. The ring's gone, and honestly, I'm glad. It showed me exactly who you are. The next day, James retrieved the original ring from the pawn shop. But I handed it over to Martha for safekeeping. Some things, once broken, can't be fixed, like trust. 6 months later, Susan's gambling debts made local headlines. She had fled town, leaving behind a trail of debt and shattered relationships. I rarely saw the family anymore, except for Martha, who had become more of a mother to me than I ever imagined. On my birthday, Martha surprised me with a new ring, a simple band with a small diamond. This represents who you truly are, she said, her eyes warm. Strong, genuine, and impossible to fake. I wear it proudly, a reminder that family isn't about blood or inheritance. It's about truth, trust, and choosing to rise above those who try to drag you down. Have you ever forgiven someone who deliberately humiliated you in front of your family? Would you have pressed charges against Susan, or do you agree with my decision to take the high road? Sometimes the best revenge is showing others that their toxicity can't break you. Share your thoughts in the comments below.